Hey guys, welcome to week 5 of program development and grants. We made it. We are at the finish line. This is the last week of class. So this week is going to solely focus on getting your grant proposals submitted. Now, as I said before in the beginning, and as we've talked about the process throughout, all the discussions have moved you toward completing that grant proposal assignment. So each discussion helps you, do a section essentially, and you can put all that together with, of course, the feedback that I've given you guys to build your entire proposal. Now, I hope that you've picked up a few pointers about grants. I know this is a really quick and dirty version of grants, learning about grants, but hopefully you have some understanding. And I always think about grants as kind of circular, meaning, we talk about a need, and we talk about our proposed solution, and we give goals and objectives and implementation strategies that support those that solution. And then in turn, it circles back around when you talk about evaluation, because you're evaluating those goals and objectives to determine how they are moving us toward that proposed solution. So it kind of becomes a circular effort. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. Be sure to look at the RFP. Now, I know I've said that. You're probably tired of hearing me say that. But the RFP under the proposal tab is your instruction booklet. These are your guidelines. When you look at proposals out there, most all granting agencies provide some sort of guidelines for their proposal submissions. And this is your instruction booklet. It becomes your holy document. You do exactly what it says. Be sure to look in that document for page limits, sometimes word limits, things of that nature. So read very carefully, okay? Because a lot of grant proposals get eliminated in the first round with reviewers because of simple mistakes. If you go over the page limit, a lot of times your application gets chucked on the first round. So just be sure that you are looking at that RFP and understanding what's required. Okay, so this week you will be submitting your proposal under the proposal tab. There's also a link in week 5 for that. You'll submit it all as one document, but there are several things required. Also under the proposal tab, there is the application forms package. When you open that up, that gives you your budget forms and your cover sheet. Okay, so what is required for the total submission? Okay, you need your cover sheet, which you would put the information for the agency that you're, working with for the purposes of this proposal. Now remember, this is all fictional, so no real funding's attached. I'm sorry, guys, don't have any funding, but that would be that information. Okay, you'll need an abstract. That's your typical abstract form, 125 words or less, and you'll need your written narrative. And you think, well, what should be in the narrative? Well, if you look at your RFP, it outlines specifically what is required in the narrative. I'm pulling it up here and we'll look. In the narrative, and this essentially follows all those discussions that we did initially. So in the narrative, you can include your abstract to begin, and then your agency capability statement. This is when you talk about, how the agency's ability to manage grants, or this type of project. It should be 125 words or less. It describes the characteristics and their track record, and how well they can handle this project. Okay. Then you address your need or your problem statement, and that goes back into some of the discussions we've done. What's the problem? What's contributing to the problem? What is the impact of the problem? And then the promising approaches is where you talk about your solution. Okay. And then the project narrative part really addresses those goals and objectives, implementation strategies, your evaluation methods, and your timeline. Okay, so that really sums up the narrative section. Also required for your submission is the budget and the budget narrative. Important difference. Budget is the actual form with just the numbers on it. It's like an Excel sheet in there. The budget narrative kind of has some spaces in it where you can write about it. And you're thinking, well, isn't that the same thing? Well, it's a little different. Budgets should be just figures. Your budget narrative explains those figures. So if you say $10,000 for travel, well, what does that consist of? Is it travel for um, the director of this program? Is it travel for the coordinator? Is it travel, hotel travel? Is it mileage? All that kind of stuff. So be sure to drill down a little detail in that budget narrative. Rule of thumb is that you should be able to build your budget from a good budget narrative. So just keep that in mind as you go through and build your budget. I'll be giving feedback very quickly on your budgets you submitted in week 4 discussion, so you should be able to integrate that feedback in your final proposal. Now, the final proposal is due on Wednesday, so keep that in mind. I know that's kind of middle of the week, but the way the semester falls, that's just how we're going to have to work it out. We do have a late submission option. You can submit up till Friday, so you have that option as well if you need it. But be sure to read about the that policy in the syllabus. So this week, just focus solely on getting your proposal together. So really, in all honesty, it should be you pretty much have it. You just have to tweak it and make changes and clean it up and put everything together. Now, sometimes with the submission, there is also sometimes like with budgets, it might go in a landscape format, where the page is this way, and then all your other pages are vertical. You may have issues with that. So I put a video in there in week 5 to show how to insert a single page. So when the reader's going down, it'll show that in landscape mode, and everything else will continue to be vertical, and it's pretty easy. So in case you need that, that is there as well. Hopefully that'll help you mitigate some issues. But remember, the proposal should be submitted as one document. Okay, you may have to cut and paste some things in, but it should be all in one document. Okay. All right. So if you have questions about your project, please don't hesitate to reach out. Oh, don't forget about the reading this week as well. There's reading for Chapter 11 and Appendix A, and hopefully that'll help with submission as well. But as I was saying, if you have questions about your project or you're not sure about something, just reach out, contact me. And email's the best method to get me. So shoot me an email, and we'll either, I'll try to answer your question, or we'll get together and talk about it. Okay. So just don't hesitate to reach out. So I have really enjoyed having you guys this semester. It's been really quick, and it seems like somewhat of a whirlwind, but I've enjoyed reading about your projects and getting to know you guys this semester. As you move forward, I hope that you are excited about grants and want to move forward with writing grants for your agency. So I encourage you to do so. The way you get good at grant writing is repetition. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And managing grants, it's the same thing. So I find that I still learn things, and I've been doing this for about 15 years, and I still learn a lot of things. So put yourself out there. It doesn't hurt to try. If I can be of assistance even after this class, let me know. If you have a grant you need a second set of eyes to look at, or have a question, just feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to take a look at it. So you guys have a great final week of the class, and let me know if you have questions. Take care.